policymakers in Pakistan. I'd like to ask unanimous consent that his opening statement be inserted for the record. And without objection, the hearing record will remain open for 5 business days to allow for further statements, questions, and extraneous materials for the record, subject to the length limitation in the rules. As we all know, the United States has spent tens of billions in taxpayer dollars in the form of aid to Pakistan since 9/11, all in the hope that Pakistan would become a partner in the fight against terrorism. Unfortunately, despite this significant investment, Pakistani military and intelligence services are still linked to terrorist groups. While the administration and the Pakistanis argue that there have been some successes in the fight against terrorist elements, particularly in Shawal Valley, terrorist organizations with close ties to Pakistan's military elite have been left untouched to the point of thriving, while Pakistan's governing elite turns a blind eye. Today, we'll discuss the administration's policy toward Pakistan and take a closer look at U.S. goals, expectations, and options with Pakistan. The U.S.-Pakistan relationship has always been complicated. Pakistan is an important country of over 200 million people. It has nuclear capabilities and is strategically located with important neighbors, including China, India, and Afghanistan. But this country poses challenges that have plagued the United States for decades. Given its significance, we can't afford to be spontaneous with our policy toward Pakistan, and there could be far-reaching consequences. At the same time, many of us in Congress are unwilling to continue down this same failed path that consists of stacks of U.S. aid dollars without much support in the fight against terrorists to show for it. To be frank, Pakistan likes the United States because for decades we've given them a substantial amount of aid, especially to the Pakistani military, while they hope that they can prevent us from getting too close with India. The United States tolerates Pakistan because it claims to be in the fight with us on the global war on terror. Recent history shows us that while Pakistan is getting money and weapons, U.S. goals in the war on terror are sadly lacking, and Pakistan may, in fact, be using the assets we provide them to undermine some of our strategic diplomatic efforts in the region. Pakistan claims to be fighting terrorism, but they refuse to fight some groups who we know to be terrorists. Many observers see Pakistani forces as selective in the terrorist group it fights, leaving others to continue to wreak havoc, especially when those groups target India. Let us not forget that Pakistan was less than helpful in the hunt and ultimate demise of Osama bin Laden, and to this day they are holding Dr. Shakil Afridi under arrest, a hero to our country, for aiding in bin Laden's capture. Patience is growing very thin. The recent failure to get consensus on proposed F-16 sale is evidence of the newly endemic weariness where Pakistan is concerned. If our current efforts in Pakistan are not producing the results we seek, then what are our options? We could simply turn the money off, saving taxpayers billions of dollars. We could enforce sanctions or designate Pakistan as a state sponsor of terrorism. Sanctions were used in the 90s, but without much effect. I hope to hear from our witnesses as to what sort of stick and carrot approach we might actually work with Pakistan so we can have a strategic partnership on issues of mutual interest. 15 years have passed since 9/11. Billions of dollars have been spent, and far too little change has occurred in Pakistan. Should we continue our failed policy and attempt to convince ourselves that Pakistan will one day see eye to eye with the United States, or should we look at the U.S.-Pakistan relationship through a new lens? I look forward to today's constructive discussion to guide our policy efforts with Pakistan, and I turn to the ranking member, Mr. Sherman, for any comments that he might have.
Thank you. We have relations with, I think, well, close to 200 countries. The default position is we don't give them money. So those who suggest aid to Pakistan have got to show that there's